want to be the best, simple and plain. That's why I play the game. To be the best, you have to win. And that's what drives me.
He's the best player in the game. It's just that simple.
Yo, we back with another live. Y'all come through the door, like and share this video. Like and share this video.
Hey.
Yeah, Sandra, we are seeing what appear to be some interceptor rounds coming off from the sea, which means some of that missile fire certainly has started. As I talk to you here, we're just going to put on some protective gear, and my cameraman, Yaniv, is going to follow some of these small dots of light that you see in the sky. Remember, we do expect any sort of defensive response to be paired not only with Israeli systems, but also American systems. But this is an indication that that missile fire is imminent. Sandra,
and
John?
We know this is happening after the IDF, as we were just discussing, Trey, just a short while ago, identified these missiles launched from Iran towards the territory of the state of Israel. The defense systems are operating to intercept that threat. We know there, as you are doing now, public's been instructed to enter a protected space, remain there until further notice. Trey, we're just getting a firsthand look at what you are going through just to deliver the news from Tel Aviv at this hour.
I'm going to keep it real. You can't pay me no amount of money to put my life in danger. They letting off missiles. They know they letting off missiles in this war. And his dumb ass is over there with a bulletproof vest on, a helmet that's not going to work. That's going to blow your smitty off regardless. You're getting hit by a missile. So this right here is stupid. I wouldn't be able to do this. I'm sorry. That's stupid.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Sandra and John, when we talk about these missile attacks, we have seen them before. You might remember last year on April 1st, the Israelis targeted the
If it was that serious, why he ain't hurrying up and putting this protective gear on? Hurry up, bro.
Iranian consulate in Damascus, Syria, and they killed a top official from the IRGC. 12 days later, the Iranians responded with missiles and drones toward this country. There was a similar attack against Israel in October of 2024. And during that attack, we were in the northern city of Haifa, and you could see the incoming Iranian ballistic missiles over Syrian airspace as some of them were intercepted. And just stay with me here. I just want to talk to my crew very quickly to ensure we know what's happening. But just to give you a sense of how quickly these things happen, the Israelis do get an alert ahead of time. And an official told me just before we got on air here that the top spokesman for the Israeli military, and I'm just going to step out of the frame here, Yaniv, off in the distance, look at the skyline, and you're going to see this is likely Israel's Arrow defense system or David's Sling.
So is these missiles being, wait, what is those? Hold on.
These are live images. Arrow, look at the skyline, and you're going to see this is likely Israel's Arrow defense system or David's Sling. These are live images coming to you right now as Israel works to intercept incoming ballistic missile fire.
This is for fair use, YouTube. Fair use. This is for fair use and educational purposes only.
This is a very fluid situation, so stay with us here. And I'm just going to toss it back to you for 10 seconds as I talk to the crew. I want to make sure everyone is prepared in case we need to move quickly.
Trey, do what you have to do. We'll check back in with you in a moment.
He must not love his life, because if he say he got a wife and kids at home, he is stupid.
Get back to Ben Hall. Ben, your thoughts?
Well, Sandra, remember that we saw some of these similar attacks last year when the Iranians fired about 200 missiles at Israel. And in that case,
200 missiles. See, we over here and we walking around like our shit don't stink and like everything is good. But these motherfuckers are sending missiles like this at each other. So you can't tell me that they don't got no opportunity to try to attack. You can't tell me that. That's why Trump need to mind his business. We don't got nothing to do with this. We always in somebody else's business.
the Iron Dome and the other air defense systems, shot down all of them, except about, I believe it was 60 of them. Now, at that point, the air defense systems were able to handle it. But Iran has thousands of ballistic missiles. And the thinking is if they want to overwhelm those air defense systems, then they would fire them in much bigger bursts. We don't yet know how many have been fired at this point, but that is the only way that the Iranians will be able to get around the Israeli air defense system. So we have to see what's happening at the moment.
Yeah, Ben, this is happening at the moment. This is a live shot. You can see the skies lighting up there. Trey, if you're in a safe position to do so, please do tell us what you're seeing and hearing.
Yeah, Sandra, this is a significant attack. The attack the Israelis have been preparing for in response. Air raid sirens are now starting to sound across Tel Aviv, an indication, and I can see interceptors coming off.
Let's be honest. What is this helmet gonna do if he get hit with a missile? Or if a big ass piece of the building just crush his ass? What the helmet gonna do, bro?
Tel Aviv, an indication, and I can see interceptors coming off from all directions. We don't know exactly how many missiles have been fired by the Iranians, but this is Israel's second largest city, a population of 300,000 people. And right now they are headed, and you're seeing an interception right there, up to the sky, Yaniv. Just stay with us. We just need to be calculated here. We're good here, and we are going to, okay, so right now what we are seeing, Sandra, is Israel's missile defense systems, likely along with American systems, working to intercept incoming ballistic missile fire. This is the attack that the Israeli army warned about. We spoke with officials before we started this live report, and they said they actually had to cut short a statement by Israel's top spokesman because they got some information that this attack was about to be underway.
And we out here living our best life, getting on boats, going to yacht parties, and this is real shit that's going on in America.
These sirens that you hear off in the distance, again, are used to warn the population to get into shelters. And we're just going to wait and see what information we can gather about this. And we have a statement right now, Sandra, from the IDF, and I'm just going to read it to you in real time. A short while ago, sirens sounded in several areas across Israel following the identification of missiles from Iran toward the state of Israel.
We're going to get right back to that video, but let's get to the orange man. Let's get to the orange man real quick. Let me get my big face self out the screen. Let's get to the orange man real quick, though.
Tonight,
We're going to start that over. We'll get to the orange man. Peep this dude right here, y'all. Peep his facial expression the whole time. Peep him.
thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill.
But why do we got to be involved in this? Why are we funding these wars and why are we doing this? I'm sorry. Like, I'm just saying, we should mind our business, get back to making our money, and stay the hell out the way. I'm sorry. Trump doing too much now.
Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Get that bullshit out of here. I don't want to hear none of that. All I'm saying is, why is we involved in this? I'm sorry. I don't feel like we should be involved in this. We need to mind our damn business. This is not right at all. They sending threats back and forth, missiles back and forth now. No, what is this meaning for the American people, though? What is this meaning for the American people? That's something that we as people got to start thinking about, though. But we're finna get back to this this video over here. And get my big face off the screen and all that.
The public is asked to follow the instructions of the Home Front Command. At this time, the Israeli Air Force is operating to intercept and strike where necessary to eliminate the threat. It's essential to continue following the instructions of the Home Front Command. And so, again, the Israelis are operating in real time, not only to strike the missile launching positions inside of Iran, but also to shoot down any of that fire. And they will use the defense systems on the ground, but also fighter jets if there are any sort of drones that are flying toward Israel to try to distract the air defense systems. But it gives you a sense. Okay, and I'm going to have my cameraman go back to the skyline here, and you're going to see more interceptor rounds coming off over Tel Aviv. The Iranians are targeting major population centers in Israel, again, in response to the operation overnight that took out a number of IRGC officials. And we can see flashes in the skies over Tel Aviv.
There's really people out there dying over this. And is this the new war? Is this the new war?
Just pull out of this shot here a little bit, Yaniv, and I'm just going to talk to my cameraman while we're talking here. So there are some interceptors. Okay, there are interceptors coming in off the sea, and you're going to see some in the distant skyline. There's a missile, and it is headed down. So some of this I can already see, John and Sandra, is not being intercepted. We just saw one of the missiles. Okay, and there's an interception right over Tel Aviv. Pull out here, Yaniv, and you're going to see the trail. Just listen here.
Hear that shit. I know I wouldn't.
Okay, this is some short-range systems. Stay here, Yaniv. Pull out a little bit. Okay, there's just a massive amount of fire coming to Tel Aviv right now. Yaniv, get ready to pull it off the stick. Get off the sticks. All right, let's go. Time to go. Okay. Guys, come on. Everyone move. Everyone move now. Stay with us. Stay with us. Pick up the gear. Let's go.
What?
All right, so there you can see, I mean, this has happened again. We've seen this before, but this is a barrage of missiles
the likes of which we maybe did not see the last time. And the other unknown, Sandra, is as Iron Dome and David Sling and the Arrow system and the Terminal High Altitude Air Defense systems are all going off at the same time, it seems here. The last time this happened, there was a coordinated defense between Israel, the United States, and other countries, including Jordan, to intercept these with aircraft as well. Trey, I mean, it's unbelievable to see what we're seeing going on in the skies above Tel Aviv right now.
Yeah, John, Sandra, you saw those live images. Israel is under a massive ballistic missile barrage. I've reported here for nearly 7 years and never seen such an attack against an Israeli city. The amount of air defense that you saw going off there it's unprecedented. It appears that they are targeting some of the centrally located positions in Tel Aviv. Remember, Israel's Ministry of Defense, the Kiryat, their version of the Pentagon, is located just a couple miles from here. The fact that they had to start using those short-range missile defense systems indicates that this is a direct attack on Israel's second largest city. We don't know what's happening in other areas, and we have to wait and gather more information to get a full understanding of what was targeted. But from what we could see and what you saw in those live images, massive explosions rocking the skyline. You could hear the explosions, flashes of light in Tel Aviv. That's when we made the decision to get a little bit more cover because this is an unprecedented moment for Israel. Again, the Iranians right now are responding to the ongoing waves of strikes that are taking place, targeting not only their nuclear facilities, but also top IRGC officials, including the leader of the IRGC, Hussein Salami. And we can expect more Israeli strikes in response to this. Just given how intense the fire, almost certainly American defense systems were involved in this. We do not know if anything has been hit, but in the distance, we could see some of those ballistic missiles slipping past air defense and slamming into the ground. It's unclear at this point what they were able to hit.
So, Trey, per a military official directly to Fox News, just want to reiterate to our audience, dozens of Iranian ballistic missiles are en route to Israel. The people of Israel have been instructed to remain in bomb shelters until further notice. Based on the activity we just saw there, Trey, one might think there's more coming.
I got to look that up.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a country that is prepared for the possibility of days of missile attacks coming from the Iranian regime. Even last night when Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke, he talked about the fact that Israelis would have to stay in shelters much longer than they had to during previous rounds. And I just want to check my phone here as we're talking. As you noted, dozens of Iranian ballistic missiles being fired and reports of an impact in Tel Aviv. Again, people are in shelters, but these shelters known as mamads here that are attached to apartments and houses are meant for, they're meant for rockets coming from places like the Gaza Strip. And guys, come back. Okay, stay with us, guys. There's an impact site very close to here. Just stay with us. Talk to me, John. Sandra, I'm with you.
Yep, we're here.
Yeah, so we can see that some smoke is rising from an area of downtown Tel Aviv as we saw a missile impact there. We don't know if it was a missile that came in unintercepted or if it was the remnants of a missile that was intercepted that landed. But you can see a lot of smoke there, Trey, rising from downtown Tel Aviv.
Yeah, and guys, I just want...
They got specific targets. So they got direct targets where they're supposed to be hitting. They know what they're doing.
I want to caution here, we don't know at this point what was hit, and we can't even confirm this impact. There are initial reports of an impact, but the air defense systems that we're also working from that very area in the heart of Israel's second largest city. And so we often see smoke like that following air defense systems being active. We simply don't know what was hit and what part of the city it was hit, and we'll continue to gather that information. But as we talk here, and I'm going to just look at my phone for a moment because I'm seeing if any of our military sources have texted me about what's happening.
Hey,
but
Trey,
as we move forward, the Israelis are preparing.
I want to know all them idiots over there got these helmets on. Like, what is this helmet going to do? I just need to understand this situation. This helmet and this vest.
If I could just jump in here for a second, Trey. As you were moving inside with your crew, we did see an impact and an explosion in that area where the smoke is rising from now with a remote camera. So it does look like there was some sort of missile impact.
Yeah, and look, this area of Tel Aviv is very densely populated, right next to a main highway that moves along. I'm being very careful. We're getting some information in, but I just can't confirm it in real time. And so I'm being very careful with what I tell you, given how sensitive this is. What I can say, just according to the couple text messages I just read from Israeli security sources, this is a very significant attack, and emergency crews are responding, ensuring that no one was injured and checking different areas of Tel Aviv. I do want to just review what we saw when we started this hit out on this balcony, John and Sandra. We saw Israel's missile defense systems active from all directions. And the fact that these close range systems in Tel Aviv were active so close to where we were, intercepting missiles just over this city, it's an indication, once again, that Israel has the capability to shoot down some of this incoming fire, but not all of it. And that is part of the concern as this story develops and as the Israelis continue to strike Iran. They can hit many of these launching positions, but the Iranians have thousands of ballistic missiles that they could use against Israel. And as we heard in that statement that we got from an Iranian official coming from Iran's supreme leader, they are preparing for war with Israel. And Israeli officials are not yet calling it a war, but what we are looking at is days of conflict ahead. The city is very quiet right now because people are still in bomb shelters. This is a country that has experienced these types of missile attacks before.
Like this video, y'all, but this is crazy. This is what they've been going through on a daily.
And when we look back to the October 2024 missile attack that was conducted by the Iranians, there were around 300 ballistic missiles that were fired at this country. And initially, some of the officials that we talked to, and it's why I'm being very careful with what I'm saying here, they told us that many of them were intercepted. It was very successful. The reality was videos started to come out showing that Israeli bases took significant damage because these missiles are traveling so fast and there's only a limited amount of air defense capability on the ground here. And remember, that was a missile attack that was in response to the killing of the leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, and Hamas leadership.
So they just taking people out over there. This is like a normal thing to them. They're just taking people out over there.
Including Ismail Haniyeh in the Iranian capital of Tehran. What we saw overnight, it's hard to even put into words how much more significant it is. What we're looking at right now is the big conflict that everyone discussed for decades, a possibility between Israel and Iran. Overnight, the Israelis took out the entirety of Iran's IRGC Air Force leadership. Again, as we can report from sources that we've talked to in the Israeli security establishment, that was a surprise attack. They got these officials to a meeting point in Iran and kept them there before killing all of them. They killed the head of the IRGC. They killed Iran's top nuclear scientists. They have damaged both the Natanz facility and other enrichment facilities in Iran. They have targeted missile production sites. They have targeted launching positions. And the Israelis are continuing to strike Iran as we speak. And so it places what is happening right now in such a larger frame. The one thing that we should note here, and this is very important when we look at the context of the current ballistic missile attack that just took place against Israel and the ongoing conflict between officials here that are now conducting an ongoing operation against Iran and the Iranians, is that Iran no longer has the strength of its proxies, like Hezbollah in southern Lebanon and the Houthis in Yemen. Now, the Houthis have still been able to maintain a ballistic missile capability. Earlier today.
Hold on. So it's different groups of these mines. It's different groups. That's crazy. And they sending these missiles over here like that. So these people can't live comfortable. They can't live in peace. Ain't no peace. Ain't no peace. They've been sending missiles over here. 300 missiles at a time is crazy.
They fired a ballistic missile at Israel. It had actually landed outside the West Bank city of Hebron, but they are able to fire in very small moments. They're not able to launch large barrages. Hezbollah was long considered the biggest threat to Israel in a possible conflict with Iran. But as we know, the Israelis methodically took out the leadership of Hezbollah, from Hassan Nasrallah to members of the Radwan forces. We were with Israeli forces on the ground in southern Lebanon as they cleared out the villages and the rocket launching positions along the border. And they've gone off after the precision missile components and sites in Lebanon, in the capital of Beirut. And so Israel's main focus right now is defending not about attacks from places like Gaza or Lebanon or Yemen, but directly from Iranian territory. And we know that they have Gaza. And so Israel's main components and sites in Lebanon, in the capital of Beirut. And so Israel's main focus right now is defending not about attacks from places like Gaza or Lebanon or Yemen, but directly from Iranian territory. Right. And we know that they have the ability to strike major population centers. We're getting in.
So basically, I guess they hitting specific targets then, because I don't know. They must be hitting specific targets, because I don't think they just sending them.
Some new information now from the top spokesman for the medics in Tel Aviv. And they say that following the recent red alert sirens, no calls have been received for emergency dispatch at this time. So it's an indication that despite the fact we saw some of those missiles landing inside Israel and those interceptions overhead that certainly create significant shrapnel that rains down on the population below. At this point, initial reports indicate there are no injuries. Again, this is very preliminary information. And as we talk here again, I'm just checking through the different sources that we're getting information from. And I, again, just want to be very careful about what I report live here, because we're getting a lot of different information and we need to confirm it in real time. John,
well, that certainly would be extraordinary, Trey, if you don't have any injuries. We saw at least 3 impacts. Looked like a couple were from damaged missiles that had been intercepted, and then one seemed to come in full force, and the smoke hanging over Tel Aviv. But if indeed this is the beginning of war between Israel and Iran, it would seem to me that it's going to look very different depending on which country you're in. Iran has no other capability, it would seem, other than to throw these ballistic missiles into Israel. Meantime, Israel is capable of widely penetrating Iran's airspace, launching pinprick attacks to take out its infrastructure. And so Iran's got to be worried that while it may be able to lob missiles at Israel and get the odd impact, as we saw here tonight, Israel can hit where it wants, when it wants, and who it wants.
It's all about who got the most money and who got the most manpower. We're gonna see who the strongest. That's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the other part of all of this, and I think it's something we have to talk about, it's the American forces and the bases and embassies across the region. And we saw earlier in the week a decision that was made by the Americans to partially evacuate the U.S. embassy in Baghdad. All non-essential personnel told to leave. Other embassies and U.S. missions in places like Bahrain and Kuwait, there was a voluntary evacuation order for the family members of embassy staff and military forces in these areas. The concern is that not only will Iran try to target Israeli population centers like Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, but that the Iranians will try to target U.S. bases and U.S. forces in the Middle East.
Yeah, I heard that.
And I tried to target centers like Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, but that the Iranians will try to target U.S. bases and U.S. forces in the Middle East. And I think back to January of 2020, I was in Baghdad, Iraq, reporting following the drone strike that was ordered by President Trump to kill top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. And at the time, the Iranians responded with 13 ballistic missiles, and they soared through the skies of Iraq and targeted Western Iraq at a base called Ain al-Assad. There is concern that something like this could happen in the hours and days ahead as the Iranians respond to the Israeli strikes.
All right, Trey,
John,
we're going to let you catch your breath.
And y'all know they got different type of shit now with this technology, so they probably got missiles that's gonna hit you. They ain't playing. Like, I don't know. This is crazy right here. But Trump said they better cut it out. It better be peace, because if it ain't peace, he got something up his sleeves. So y'all like, share, and subscribe, and let me know what y'all think about that in the comment section. This nigga been everywhere, running from bombs with this helmet on. I don't know how in the hell he think this vest and this helmet gonna protect him, but y'all let me know in the comment section. This is crazy. This is crazy work. But y'all like, share, and subscribe. We go.